1. All right, let's dive a little deeper into this 1974 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. As a car enthusiast, I have to say I'm pretty excited about this find. The Monte Carlo has a rich history, first introduced by Chevrolet in 1970 as a personal luxury car. It quickly gained popularity for its blend of style, comfort, and performance. The 1974 model year was part of the second generation of Monte Carlos, which ran from 1973 to 1977. These cars were known for their longer, wider stance compared to the previous generation, giving them a more imposing presence on the road. They also featured a redesigned front end with a more prominent grille and single headlamps, which added to their distinctive look. Now let's talk about that 8-cylinder engine. In 1974, Monte Carlos could be equipped with a range of V8 options, from a 350 Ci 5.7L small block up to a massive 454 Ci 7.4L big block. Without more details from the seller, it's hard to say exactly which engine this particular car has, but either way, you can expect plenty of power and that classic V8 rumble. The ad mentions the car has an automatic transmission, which was a popular choice for Monte Carlos in this era. The TH 353-speed automatic was a common pairing with the small block V80S, while the TH 400 was often matched with the larger engines. Both were reliable, smooth-shifting transmissions that were well-suited to the Monte Carlo's cruising nature. As for the interior, the Monte Carlo was all about luxury. Buyers could choose from a variety of plush cloth or vinyl upholstery options, and the car featured a well-appointed dashboard with easy-to-read gauges and controls. Air conditioning, power steering, and power brakes were all available options that added to the car's comfort and convenience. Of course, as with any classic car, there are some things to keep in mind. Parts and maintenance for a vehicle of this age can be more expensive and challenging than a newer model. Rust can also be a concern, particularly in areas where the car has been exposed to harsh weather or road salt. That's why it's crucial to have a thorough inspection done before making a purchase. But for the right buyer, a Monte Carlo can be a truly rewarding ownership experience. These cars have a loyal following among enthusiasts who appreciate their unique blend of style, performance, and nostalgia. And at $6,500, this particular example seems like a lot of car for the money. So if you're in the market for a classic ride that's sure to turn heads and put a smile on your face every time you get behind the wheel, this Monte Carlo is definitely worth a closer look. Just imagine cruising down the highway in this orange beauty, feeling the rumble of that V8 and enjoying all the vintage charm that comes with a car like this. It's the kind of experience that makes being a car enthusiast so special. 2. I've got a real treat for you, a 1971 Oldsmobile Toronado that's up for sale on Craigslist. This beauty is priced at just $5,500, and let me tell you, it looks like an absolute steal. First off, can we talk about the condition of this Toronado? The seller describes it as like new, and based on the list of recent repairs and upgrades, I'm inclined to believe them. It's rare to find a classic car that's been so well maintained and cared for over the years. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's sure to deliver a thrilling driving experience. And here's a fun fact. The Toronado was actually the first front-wheel drive car produced by an American manufacturer. That's right, this car was a true innovator back in its day, and it still stands out as a unique and interesting choice for collectors and enthusiasts alike. The odometer shows just over 61,000 miles, which is relatively low for a car of this age. And with a clean title, you can have peace of mind, knowing that this Toronado has a clear history. But what really impresses me about this car is the level of care and attention to detail that the seller has put into it. They've replaced the alternator, rebuilt the starter, installed new belts, and even gone as far as removing, cleaning, and sealing the gas tank. That's the kind of dedication that you love to see in a classic car owner. Other notable upgrades include a new radiator, water pump, thermostat, brake calipers, pads, and rear shoes. And with a new Rochester carburetor and fresh spark plugs, this Toronado should be running like a top. As an added bonus, the seller is open to trades, although they specify no bikes or boats. And if you're not local to the area, they even offer delivery options, which is a nice touch. Overall, this Oldsmobile seems like an incredible opportunity for anyone in the market for a classic car. With its impressive condition, recent upgrades, and attractive price point, I wouldn't be surprised if it sells quickly. If you're interested, I'd recommend reaching out to the seller soon to learn more and potentially arrange a test drive. And can we just take a moment to appreciate the sheer coolness factor of this car? The Toronado has always had a unique style all its own, with its sleek, almost futuristic look. Imagine rolling up to a car show or cruise night in this beauty. You're sure to turn heads and spark plenty of conversations. So if you're ready to experience the thrill of driving a true American classic, this Toronado might just be the car you've been waiting for. Trust me, as a car enthusiast, it's hard not to get excited about a find like this. Happy bidding, and maybe I'll see you out on the road in your new to you Toronado soon. 3. Do I have a treat for you today? I just spotted a fantastic 1975 Mercury Marquis for sale on Craigslist. And let me tell you, this car is a real gem. The seller is asking just $6,000 for this beauty, and from what I can see, it looks like a whole lot of car for the money. First off, can we talk about the condition of this Marquis? The seller describes it as good, and based on the photos and description, I'm inclined to agree. The interior is said to be like new, which is impressive for a car that's nearly 50 years old. And while the exterior may not be perfect, it still looks pretty darn nice in that eye-catching yellow paint. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's sure to provide plenty of get up and go. And with rear-wheel drive, this Marquis should offer a classic American driving experience. The automatic transmission is another plus, making it easy to cruise around town or hit the open road. The odometer shows just under 62,000 miles, which is relatively low for a car of this age. That suggests it's been well cared for over the years, and the seller's description of it running smooth backs that up. It's always a good sign when a classic car has been treated with respect and maintained properly. One thing that really stands out to me is the seller's comment that not many are like this. They're right. The Mercury Marquis is a bit of an underappreciated classic, overshadowed by some of its more well-known contemporaries. But that just makes finding a good one like this all the more special. The fact that the seller notes everything works is another huge plus. Too often, classic cars can come with a host of non-functioning features, but it sounds like this Marquis is ready to go as is. And with good tires, you should be able to hop in and hit the road with confidence. Now, as with any classic car purchase, it's always a good idea to see the vehicle in person and have it inspected by a trusted mechanic before making a final decision. The seller's note to "call only if you are interested" suggests they're looking for serious buyers, which is understandable given the caliber of car on offer here. Overall, this Mercury looks like a fantastic opportunity for anyone in the market for a classic American sedan. With its good condition, low mileage, and attractive price point, I suspect it won't be available for long. If you're interested, I'd recommend reaching out to the seller soon to learn more and potentially arrange a test drive. And can we just take a moment to appreciate the sheer presence of this car? The Marquis was Mercury's top-of-the-line model in 1975, and it shows in the car's stately design and luxurious features. Imagine pulling up to a car show or cruise night in this yellow beauty. You're sure to make a statement and turn plenty of heads. So if you're ready to experience the joy of owning a classic piece of American automotive history, this Marquis might just be the car of your dreams. Trust me, as a car enthusiast, it's hard not to get excited about a find like this. Happy bidding, and maybe I'll see you out on the road in your new to you Marquis soon. 4. I've got a real treat for you, a 1975 Pontiac Granville convertible that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This stunning classic is priced at $7,500, and let me tell you, it looks like a whole lot of car for the money. First off, can we talk about how rare and special this Granville is? As a convertible model with low original miles, just 103,000, it's a true find in the classic car world. The seller notes that it's loaded with all the options you could want, including power windows, power disc brakes, power seat, power top, power antenna, and even air conditioning. Talk about cruising in style. Under the hood, you'll find a beefy 455 engine that the seller says runs great, paired with an automatic transmission. And with recent servicing, including an oil change, brake work, and fluid changes, you can feel confident that this Granville has been well maintained. The new battery and fuel pump sending unit are also nice touches that show the seller has put some care into this car. The interior is described as being in great condition, which is always a huge plus for a classic car. The only noted issue is that it needs a radio, but that's a relatively easy fix. And while the car does need a new canvas top and has a slight exhaust leak, those are fairly minor issues in the grand scheme of things. Now, the seller does mention that the car has been sitting previously, so you may want to consider changing the tires for safety's sake. But overall, the body is said to be straight with no rust issues, which is a huge selling point for a car of this age. The original paint does have a few bumps and bruises, but that's to be expected in a classic car that's been around for nearly 50 years. One thing that really stands out to me is the seller's note that the underside of the car is clean, with solid floors and frame. That's a testament to how well this Granville has been cared for over the years, and it's a great sign for potential buyers. Overall, this Granville convertible looks like an incredible opportunity for anyone in the market for a classic American cruiser. With its low mileage, loaded options, and solid condition, it's the kind of car that dreams are made of. And at $7,500, it seems like a lot of car for the money. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's always a good idea to see the vehicle in person and have it inspected by a trusted mechanic before making a final decision. But based on the seller's description and the photos provided, this Granville looks like a real gem. Imagine cruising down the road on a sunny summer day with the top down, that big 455 engine rumbling away and the wind in your hair. It's the kind of experience that every car enthusiast dreams of, and this Granville could make that dream a reality. So if you're ready to take the plunge into classic car ownership, this Pontiac convertible might just be the perfect choice. With its combination of rarity, style, and solid condition, it's sure to turn heads and provide plenty of smiles per mile. Happy bidding, and maybe I'll see you out on the road in your new to you, Granville soon. 5. Have I got a treat for you today? I just spotted an incredible 1971 Ford LTD for sale on Craigslist, and let me tell you, this car is something special. The seller is asking $7,000 for this beauty, and based on the description, it sounds like it could be a fantastic deal. First off, let's talk about the condition of this LTD. The seller describes it as good, which is always a promising sign for a classic car. And when you dig into the details, it's clear that this isn't just your average old sedan. The seller mentions that the car has been treated to a complete rebuild of the front-end steering linkage and suspension, which is a huge plus. That means you can expect a smooth, comfortable ride and precise handling. And with 4 new springs, this LTD should be sitting pretty and riding like a dream. Under the hood, you'll find a 351 cubic inch V8 engine with a 4-barrel carburetor. That's a serious power plant, and it should provide plenty of get up and go for cruising around town or hitting the highway. And with rear-wheel drive, you can expect that classic American muscle car experience. Now let's talk about the interior. The seller doesn't provide a ton of details, but they do note that the car is a 4-door model. That means plenty of room for family and friends to come along for the ride. And with a classic car like this, you can bet that the interior has plenty of vintage charm, from the bench seats to the dashboard design. The odometer shows just 44,000 miles, which is incredibly low for a car of this age. Of course, as with any classic car, it's always a good idea to verify the mileage and condition with the seller and through a thorough inspection. But if that mileage is accurate, it suggests that this LTD has been well cared for over the years. One thing that really catches my eye is the paint color. A rich, deep brown. It's a color that you don't see too often on modern cars, but it looks right at home on a classic like this. And with a clean title, you can feel confident that this LTD has a clear history and is ready for a new owner. Overall, this LTD looks like a fantastic opportunity for anyone in the market for a classic American sedan. With its rebuilt front end, powerful V8 engine, and low mileage, it's the kind of car that you could enjoy for years to come. And at $7,000, it seems like a lot of car for the money. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's always a good idea to see the vehicle in person and have it inspected by a trusted mechanic before making a final decision. But based on the seller's description and the photos provided, this LTD looks like a real gem. Imagine cruising down the road in this big, beautiful brown machine with the windows down and the sound of that V8 engine rumbling away. It's the kind of experience that every car enthusiast dreams of, and this LTD could make that dream a reality. So if you're ready to take the plunge into classic car ownership, this 1971 Ford LTD might just be the perfect choice. With its combination of style, power, and solid condition, It's sure to turn heads and provide plenty of smiles per mile. Happy bidding, and maybe I'll see you out on the road in your new to you LTD soon. 6. Do I have an incredible find for you today? I just spotted a stunning 1966 Ford Fairlane 500 for sale on Craigslist. And let me tell you, this car is an absolute gem. The seller is asking $13,000 for this beauty, and based on the description and condition, it sounds like it could be worth every penny. First off, can we just take a moment to appreciate the overall condition of this Fairlane? The seller describes it as excellent, and I'm inclined to believe them. They note that it's an incredible survivor that's never been hit or repaired, aside from a passenger fender repaint back in 1987, and they even have the receipt to prove it. That kind of originality is hard to come by in a classic car. Under the hood, you'll find a 289 cubic inch V8 engine with a 2-barrel carburetor paired with a C4 automatic transmission. The seller notes that the car runs and drives perfectly, which is always music to a car enthusiast's ears. And with manual steering and brakes, you can expect a classic driving experience that puts you in touch with the road. The seller also mentions that the car has been gone through mechanically in every aspect, which is a huge plus. They've installed a host of new parts, including tires, even the spare, motorcraft shocks, rear brake shoes and cylinders, a carburetor overhaul, and a new water pump. The car also features a dual exhaust system with porter mufflers, which should give it a fantastic sound. One thing that really stands out to me is the low mileage, just 53,000 miles on the odometer. And the seller says they have supporting documentation to back that up, as well as the original sales order paperwork from when the first owner traded in their 1951 Ford. That kind of provenance is incredibly rare and adds a ton of value to this Fairlane. Another huge selling point is the fact that this car has zero rust and came from Virginia. Rust is the enemy of classic cars, so finding one that's been spared from the tin worm is always a cause for celebration. Overall, this Ford looks like an incredible opportunity for anyone in the market for a classic American muscle car. With its excellent condition, low mileage, and host of new parts, it's the kind of car that you could enjoy for years to come. And at $13,000, it seems like a fair price for a car of this caliber. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's always a good idea to see the vehicle in person and have it inspected by a trusted mechanic before making a final decision. But based on the seller's description and the photos provided, this Fairlane looks like a real winner. Imagine cruising down the road in this beautiful piece of American automotive history with the sound of that 289 V8 rumbling through the dual exhaust. It's the kind of experience that every car enthusiast dreams of, and this Fairlane could make that dream a reality. So if you're ready to add a truly special car to your collection, this Fairlane 500 might just be the perfect choice. With its combination of originality, mechanical excellence, and low mileage, it's sure to turn heads and provide plenty of smiles per mile. Happy bidding, and maybe I'll see you out on the road in your new to you, Fairlane soon. 7. Have I got a treat for you today? I just spotted an incredible 1984 Chevrolet Camaro Berlinetta for sale on Craigslist, and let me tell you, this car looks like an absolute dream. The seller is asking $11,500 for this beauty, and based on the description and condition, it sounds like it could be worth every penny. First off, can we just take a moment to appreciate the overall condition of this Camaro? The seller describes it as like new, and from the photos, I can see why. The red paint looks absolutely stunning, and the seller notes that there's no rust to be found. That's a huge plus for any classic car, especially one that's been around for nearly 40 years. Under the hood, you'll find a 305 cubic inch V8 engine, which should provide plenty of power and that classic muscle car sound. The seller doesn't specify the exact horsepower, but in 1984, the 305 was rated at around 150 to 190 GP depending on the specific model. Paired with an automatic transmission and rear-wheel drive, this Camaro should be a blast to drive. One of the coolest features of this Camaro is the T-tops. There's just something about cruising down the road with the wind in your hair that feels so quintessentially 80s. And the seller notes that the T-tops have no leaks, which is always a concern with this style of roof. Inside, the interior is described as very clean, with no cracks in the dash. That's a common problem area for classic cars, So it's great to hear that this Camaro has been spared. The seller also mentions that the car has been stored indoors every winter, which has no doubt helped to preserve its condition. The seller has made some nice upgrades to this Camaro as well, including an aftermarket cruise control system, a Dynamax catback exhaust kit, and a new set of BF Goodrich radial TA tires. They've even included a platinum car cover to keep the paint looking fresh. One really cool bonus is the extra set of original gold accent rims that come with the car. Those are a rare find and really add to the 80s aesthetic of this Camaro. With just over 40,000 miles on the odometer, this Camaro has been lightly used over the years. The seller notes that it passes inspection every time, which is a testament to how well it's been maintained. Overall, this Chevrolet looks like an incredible find for any fan of classic muscle cars. With its stunning condition, low mileage, and host of upgrades, it's the kind of car that you could enjoy for years to come. And at $11,500, it seems like a fair price for a car of this caliber. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's always a good idea to see the vehicle in person and have it inspected by a trusted mechanic before making a final decision. But based on the seller's description and the photos provided, this Camaro looks like a real winner. Imagine cruising down the road in this beautiful red machine, with the T-tops off and the sound of that V8 rumbling through the Dynamax exhaust. It's the kind of experience that every car enthusiast dreams of, and this Camaro could make that dream a reality. So if you're ready to add a truly special car to your collection, this Camaro Berlinetta might just be the perfect choice. With its combination of style, performance, and incredible condition, it's sure to turn heads and provide plenty of smiles per mile. Happy bidding, and maybe I'll see you out on the road in your new to you Camaro soon. 8. I've got a real treat for you. A 1968 Plymouth Fury 3 that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic beauty is priced at $11,500. And while the seller's description is brief, there are some promising details that make this car worth a closer look. First off, the seller notes that the car runs good, which is always a positive sign. They also mention that it's equipped with an automatic transmission and a 318 cubic inch engine. The 318 was a popular choice for Plymouths in the late 60s, known for its reliability and decent power output. While it may not be the most high-performance engine out there, it should provide a smooth and enjoyable driving experience. The odometer shows 82,000 miles, which is relatively low for a car of this age. Of course, as with any classic car, it's always a good idea to verify the mileage and condition with the seller and through a thorough inspection. But if that mileage is accurate, it suggests that this Fury has been well cared for over the years. Another plus is that the seller mentions the car has good tires. Tires are an often overlooked aspect of classic car ownership, but they're crucial for both safety and performance. Knowing that this Fury has a good set of rubber is definitely a point in its favor. Now, I do wish the seller had provided more details and photos of the car. The description is quite sparse, and without seeing the interior, exterior, and undercarriage, it's hard to get a full sense of the car's condition. Is the body straight and rust-free? How does the interior look? These are questions that potential buyers will want to ask. It's also worth noting that the seller doesn't mention anything about the car's maintenance history or any recent repairs or upgrades. Again, this is information that buyers will want to inquire about before making a decision. Despite these unknowns, I can't help but feel excited about the prospect of owning a 1968 Plymouth Fury 3. These cars have such a great classic style with their long, sleek lines and distinctive grille. And with a clean title, you can feel confident that this Fury has a clear history and is ready for a new owner. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's always a good idea to see the vehicle in person and have it inspected by a trusted mechanic before making a final decision. But based on the seller's description, this Fury seems like it could be a solid choice for someone looking to get into the classic car hobby. Imagine cruising down the road in this vintage Plymouth with the windows down and the sound of that 318 engine humming away. It's the kind of experience that every car enthusiast dreams of, and this Fury could make that dream a reality. So if you're in the market for a classic American car with plenty of style and character, this Fury 3 might be worth checking out. Just be sure to do your due diligence, ask plenty of questions, and go in with your eyes wide open. With a little bit of luck and some careful consideration, You could be the proud owner of a real piece of automotive history. Happy hunting, and maybe I'll see you out on the road in your new to you, Fury soon. 9. I've got a real treat for you, a 1961 Ford Thunderbird that's up for sale on Craigslist. This classic beauty is priced at $12,000, and based on the seller's description, it sounds like a real hot rod with plenty of custom touches. First off, let's talk about the engine. This T-Bird is packing a Blueprint 347 motor with fuel injection, which is a serious upgrade from the original power plant. The seller notes that the engine has low miles, so you can expect plenty of power and reliability. Paired with an AOD 4-speed automatic transmission with a shift kit, this car should be an absolute blast to drive. The seller has also made some customizations to the hood and tail, giving this T-Bird a unique look that's sure to turn heads. And with a lowered suspension and sway bars in the front and rear, you can expect some seriously sharp handling to match that powerful engine. Now, the seller does mention some minor rust, which is something to keep in mind with any classic car. However, they also note that the overall condition is good and solid, so it doesn't sound like the rust is a major issue. Just be sure to give the car a thorough inspection before making a final decision. This T-Bird also comes with some great creature comforts, including power steering, power Hydro Boost brakes with discs up front, and power windows. The Alpine Bluetooth stereo with 6 X9 speakers in the back is a nice modern touch that will let you enjoy your favorite tunes while cruising down the road. The seller mentions that the odometer is broken, so the true mileage is unknown. However, they also note that they have a folder full of receipts and that the car was built 10 years ago, so you can get a sense of its history and maintenance. One thing to keep in mind is that the seller describes this car as a real hot rod that you can drive as is or mod to taste. This suggests that it may not be a completely stock numbers matching car, but rather a custom build that's been designed for performance. That could be a plus or a minus depending on your perspective, but it's definitely something to consider. Overall, this Thunderbird sounds like a real gem for the right buyer. With its powerful engine, custom touches, and solid condition, it's the kind of car that could provide years of driving enjoyment. And at $12,000, it seems like a fair price for a classic car with this much character. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's always a good idea to see the vehicle in person and have it inspected by a trusted mechanic before making a final decision. But based on the seller's description and the photos provided, this T-Bird looks like a real winner. Imagine cruising down the road in this beautiful blue machine with the sound of that 347 engine rumbling through the dual exhaust. It's the kind of experience that every car enthusiast dreams of, and this Thunderbird could make that dream a reality. So if you're in the market for a classic car with plenty of power, style, and unique touches, this 1961 Ford Thunderbird might just be the perfect choice. With its combination of performance and personality, it's sure to turn heads and provide plenty of smiles per mile. Happy bidding, and maybe I'll see you out on the road in your new to you, T-Bird soon. 10. All right, let's dive a little deeper into this 1976 Mercury Cougar XR7, shall we? The Cougar was Mercury's answer to the Ford Mustang, and the XR7 was the cream of the crop. It was the most luxurious and performance-oriented model in the lineup, and it came loaded with features like a wood-grain dashboard, leather seats, and a host of other premium touches. Under the hood, this particular Cougar is packing a 351 cubic inch V8 engine. That's a lot of displacement, and it should translate to some serious power. The seller doesn't mention any specific performance upgrades, but even in stock form, this engine was no slouch. It would have been rated at around 180 horsepower from the factory, depending on the specific configuration. The ad also mentions that the car has an automatic transmission, which was pretty standard for the era. It should make the car easy to drive and more accessible to a wider range of buyers, and with rear-wheel drive, you'll get that classic muscle car feel when you put your foot down. Now let's talk about the condition of this Cougar. The seller claims that it's a survivor, which is a term often used to describe a car that's largely original and hasn't been heavily modified or restored. That's a good sign if you're looking for a piece of history. But it's important to keep in mind that a survivor car is still an old car and it may have some quirks and flaws. The seller does say that the car looks good and runs well, which is encouraging. They also mention that the interior is in excellent condition, which is a big plus. A well-preserved interior can make a classic car feel much more inviting and enjoyable to drive. However, the seller doesn't provide a ton of detail about the car's mechanical condition or any recent maintenance or repairs. That's why it's always a good idea to get a thorough inspection done by a qualified mechanic before making a purchase, especially on an older vehicle. One thing that does stand out is the mention of over $6,500 in recent work. That's a significant amount of money, and it suggests that someone has been taking good care of this car. It would be worth asking the seller for more details about what kind of work was done and if they have any receipts or documentation to back it up. As for the price, $7,400 seems pretty reasonable for a classic Cougar in good condition. These cars have a dedicated following and prices have been on the rise in recent years. Of course, the value of any classic car is ultimately determined by the market and the individual buyer. But this one seems to be priced fairly based on the information provided, so there you have it. A closer look at this Cougar XR7. It's a beautiful car with a lot of potential, but as with any classic vehicle, it's important to do your homework and make an informed decision before pulling the trigger. If you're up for a bit of a project and you want a taste of that old-school muscle car magic, this Cougar could be the perfect addition to your garage. Happy hunting! 11. We've got a real gem for you. A 1964 Ford Thunderbird that's up for sale on Craigslist for $13,500. This beauty has just 59,800 miles on the odometer, which is incredibly low for a car that's nearly 60 years old. The seller's description paints a picture of a car that's been lovingly preserved over the years. They claim that the interior is in excellent condition with no tears, rips, or cracks to be found. That's a testament to the care and attention that's been lavished on this T-Bird. On the outside, the car looks just as impressive. The seller says that the top was repainted about 4 years ago, but most of the paint is original. That's a rare find in a classic car, and it speaks to the quality of the workmanship that went into this Thunderbird. The only blemish mentioned is a trouble spot on the trunk lid, but the seller has provided a picture so you can judge for yourself. Perhaps most importantly, the seller claims that there is no rust whatsoever on the body of the car. That's a huge deal for a vehicle of this age, as rust can be a real killer when it comes to classic cars. The undercarriage is also said to be in immaculate shape, which is another great sign. The only rust mentioned is on the mufflers, but the seller says they're still in good shape. Mechanically, the news seems to be just as good. The car is said to run and drive like a dream, which is exactly what you want to hear about a classic ride. It's got the original 390 cubic inch engine under the hood, which should provide plenty of power and torque. The transmission was reportedly rebuilt in 2022, which is a big plus. The seller does mention a couple of known issues, but they seem relatively minor. The air conditioning doesn't work, which is a common problem with older cars, and the power steering fluid is leaking, which the seller says will likely require a new pump. But those are the kinds of things that you expect to deal with when you're talking about a car that's almost 60 years old. Overall, this Thunderbird seems like an excellent opportunity for the right buyer. It's a piece of American automotive history that's been well preserved and maintained over the years. The asking price of $13,500 might seem a bit steep at first glance, but when you consider the car's condition and rarity, it starts to look like a pretty fair deal. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's important to do your due diligence. If you're serious about buying this T-Bird, you'll want to go see it in person and give it a thorough inspection. Check for any signs of hidden damage or wear and make sure that everything works as it should. But if everything checks out, this could be the chance of a lifetime to own a true American icon. The 1964 Thunderbird was a stylish and luxurious car in its day, and it still turns heads now. With its sleek lines, powerful engine, and well-preserved condition, this particular example is sure to be the pride of any classic car collection. So if you're in the market for a vintage ride that's got style, substance, and a whole lot of history behind it, this 1964 Ford Thunderbird is definitely worth a closer look. Who knows, it might just be the car of your dreams. 12. Get ready to feast your eyes on this incredible 1985 Cadillac Eldorado that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist. This beauty is being offered at $12,900, and let me tell you, it's a deal that's hard to resist. First off, can we talk about how insanely low the mileage is on this Eldorado? According to the seller, the odometer reads just 3,198 miles. That's right, folks. This car has barely been driven. It's like stepping into a time machine and being transported back to the mid-80s. Now let's dive into the details. This Eldorado is a roadster model, which means it's got some serious style. It's powered by a beefy 4.1 LV8 engine that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. And with an automatic transmission, you can sit back and enjoy the ride without having to worry about shifting gears. The seller also mentions that this Eldorado comes loaded with features like air conditioning and power windows, which is pretty impressive for a car that's almost 40 years old. And if you want to stand out even more, check out that custom chrome grille. It's a nice touch that really sets this car apart. Of course, with any classic car, there's always the question of condition. The seller doesn't mention any major issues or damage, which is a good sign. The title is also listed as clean, so you shouldn't have to worry about any hidden surprises. That being said, it's always a good idea to inspect a car thoroughly before making a purchase, especially one that's this old. You'll want to check for any signs of rust, wear and tear, or other potential problems, but if everything checks out, this Eldorado could be an absolute gem. Imagine cruising down the road in this vintage caddy with the wind in your hair and the sun on your face. It's the kind of experience that money can't buy. Well, except for the $12,900 asking price, of course. But seriously, if you're in the market for a classic American luxury car that's sure to turn heads and make a statement, this Eldorado Roadster is definitely worth checking out. It's got style, power, and an incredibly low mileage that's hard to find in a car this old. So what are you waiting for? Grab your checkbook and head on over to Craigslist to check out this amazing Eldorado before someone else snatches it up. With a car like this, you're not just buying a vehicle, you're buying a piece of automotive history. And who knows, it might just be the best $12,900 you ever spend. 13. Get ready to feast your eyes on this incredible 1970 Buick Electra convertible that's currently up for sale on Craigslist. This beauty can be yours for just $15,000, and let me tell you, it's worth every penny. First off, can we talk about how cool it is to find a convertible from the 70s in such great condition? The seller mentions that the top is in excellent shape for its age and that it works great. That's a big deal because a lot of convertibles from this era have tops that are either torn, faded, or just don't work at all. But the top isn't the only thing that's impressive about this Electra. The interior is black, which gives it a sleek and sophisticated look. And check this out. It's got power windows and an 8-track player. How cool is that? You can cruise around town with the top down, listening to your favorite tunes on a classic piece of audio equipment. Under the hood, this Electra is packing some serious heat. It's got a 455 engine, which is a big block V8 that was known for its power and torque. The seller says that the car runs and drives, which is always a good sign. And it sounds like they've done some recent maintenance too, with new plugs, wires, cap, and rotor. The transmission and rear differential have also been serviced in the last year, which shows that the seller has been taking good care of this car. And if you're worried about stopping power, don't be. The seller mentions that the car has had a complete brake job done on both the front and rear. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A car this old must have some issues, right? Well, the seller doesn't mention any major problems in the ad. The odometer shows 73,000 miles, which is relatively low for a car that's over 50 years old, and the title is listed as clean, so you shouldn't have to worry about any hidden surprises. Of course, as with any classic car, it's always a good idea to give it a thorough inspection before making a purchase. You'll want to check for any signs of rust, wear and tear, or other potential issues. But based on the seller's description, this Electra seems to be in pretty great shape. Imagine cruising down the road in this bad boy with the wind in your hair and the sun on your face. It's the kind of experience that money can't buy. Well, except for the $15,000 asking price, of course. But for a classic convertible with this kind of style and power, that price tag seems more than fair. So if you're in the market for a vintage ride that's sure to turn heads and make a statement, this Electra is definitely worth checking out. It's got all the features you could want in a classic car, from a powerful engine to a slick interior to a top that actually works. And who knows, maybe you'll even find some old 8-track tapes to play while you're cruising around town. That would be the icing on the cake for this already incredible car. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to Craigslist and check out this 1970 Buick Electra convertible before someone else snatches it up. Trust me, you won't regret it. This is the kind of car that dreams are made of, and it's just waiting for the right person to come along and make it their own. 14. We've got a real treat for you, a 1976 Mercury Capri that's currently up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic beauty is being offered at $12,750, and let me tell you, it's a deal that's hard to resist. First off, can we talk about how cool it is to find a Capri from the 70s in such great condition? The seller mentions that the car has 104,000 miles on it, which is pretty low for a car that's almost 50 years old. And get this, it's got blue plates, which means it's been registered in California for a long time. That's a big deal because California has some of the strictest emissions laws in the country, so you know this car has been well maintained. Under the hood, this Capri is packing a 2.3L four-cylinder engine, which is paired with a 4-speed manual transmission. That's right, folks. This car is a real driver's machine. The seller says that the car runs great, which is always a good sign, and it sounds like they've done some recent maintenance too, with new parts like tires, brakes, spark plugs and wires, fuel pump and hose, battery, and valve cover gasket. But the best part? This Capri just passed a smog test and has been registered, so you shouldn't have to worry about any legal issues or emissions problems. That's a huge relief, especially if you're looking for a classic car to drive regularly. Now let's talk about the cosmetics. The seller mentions that the paint is mostly original, which is pretty impressive for a car this old. It's got a classic red color that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. And while there may be some minor imperfections or signs of age, that's to be expected with a vintage car like this. Of course, as with any used car purchase, it's always a good idea to give it a thorough inspection before making a decision. You'll want to check for any signs of rust, wear and tear, or other potential issues. But based on the seller's description and the recent maintenance that's been done, this Capri seems to be in pretty great shape. Imagine cruising down the road in this classic Mercury with the wind in your hair and the sound of that four-cylinder engine purring. It's the kind of experience that money can't buy. Well, except for the $12,750 asking price, of course. But for a vintage sports car with this kind of style and performance, that price tag seems more than fair. So if you're in the market for a classic ride that's sure to turn heads and put a smile on your face every time you get behind the wheel, this Capri is definitely worth checking out. It's got all the features you could want in a vintage car, from a manual transmission to a classic color to a well-maintained engine. And who knows, maybe you'll even find some old school tunes to play on the radio while you're cruising around town. That would be the icing on the cake for this already incredible car. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to Craigslist and check out this Capri before someone else snatches it up. Trust me, you won't regret it. This is the kind of car that dreams are made of, and it's just waiting for the right person to come along and make it their own. 15. Get ready to feast your eyes on this incredible 1972 Buick Riviera that's currently up for sale on Craigslist. This beauty can be yours for just $13,900, and let me tell you, it's worth every penny. First off, can we talk about the engine in this thing? It's a rebuilt 455 cubic inch monster that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. The seller says it runs as smooth as a 455 should, which is music to any car enthusiast's ears. And with new wheels and tires, you'll be riding in style and comfort. But the engine isn't the only thing that's impressive about this Riviera. The seller has put a ton of work into the interior with new seats, gauges, and carpet. They've even added sound deadening throughout the entire car so you can cruise in peace and quiet. And get this, they have all the interior trim and panels, so you won't have to go hunting for any missing pieces. On the exterior, this Riviera is just as impressive. The seller has all the exterior trim and door handles, so it should be a breeze to get this car looking like it just rolled off the showroom floor. And while it still needs a few small detail items finished up, the seller says they'll have it ready for the hot August weather. Just imagine cruising around in this classic beauty with the windows down and the wind in your hair. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A car this old must have some issues, right? Well, the seller doesn't mention any major problems in the ad. In fact, they say that the car runs and drives, which is always a good sign. And with a rebuilt engine and new parts throughout, it sounds like this Riviera has been well taken care of. Of course, as with any classic car, it's always a good idea to give it a thorough inspection before making a purchase. You'll want to check for any signs of rust, wear and tear, or other potential issues. But based on the seller's description and the work that's been done, This Riviera seems to be in pretty great shape, and the best part? The seller has a clear Nevada title in their name, so you shouldn't have to worry about any paperwork or legal issues. That's a huge relief, especially when you're dealing with a classic car. Imagine rolling up to your local car show or cruise night in this bad boy. You'll be the talk of the town, and everyone will be dying to get a closer look. And with a price tag of just $13,900, it's a steal compared to some of the other classic Rivieras out there. So if you're in the market for a vintage ride that's sure to turn heads and make a statement, this Buick is definitely worth checking out. It's got all the features you could want in a classic car, from a powerful engine to a well-maintained interior to a clear title. And who knows, maybe you'll even find some old school tunes to play on the radio while you're cruising around town. That would be the icing on the cake for this already incredible car. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to Craigslist and check out this Riviera before someone else snatches it up. Trust me, you won't regret it. This is the kind of car that dreams are made of, and it's just waiting for the right person to come along and make it their own. 16. We've got a real treat for you, a 1956 Lincoln Continental that's just begging for some love and attention. This classic beauty is up for grabs on Craigslist for a cool $15,000, and let me tell you, it's a rare find. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This Continental has seen better days. The seller admits that it started running hot last year, and despite changing the coolant, the issue persisted. They haven't had a chance to check the thermostat or water pump yet, so that's something to keep in mind. But hey, that's all part of the restoration adventure, right? The seller is upfront about the fact that the car may not start when you come to pick it up, but that's why they recommend bringing a trailer. No surprises here, folks. The good news is that when it was last driven, this Continental was capable of hitting highway speeds, so there's definitely potential. Aesthetically, the car has all its glass intact without any cracks, and most of the electronics and lights are in working order. The only exception is the passenger window, but that's a minor issue in the grand scheme of things. The transmission is said to shift fine, although there's a noise coming from the drive shaft that'll need some attention. As for the body, it's straight with no signs of a serious accident, and all the trim is intact. However, the seller is honest about the fact that it needs a new paint job, it was originally white, and some interior work. But hey, they're even throwing in a $600 carpet kit to sweeten the deal. Under the hood, you'll find a non-matching 430 engine, which might not be everyone's cup of tea. But the seller suggests that this Continental would make a great candidate for a resto mod or custom build. Imagine dropping in a modern LS or Coyote engine. The possibilities are endless. The seller has a clean title and planned non-operation registration in their name, so you can have peace of mind there. And while they're not in a rush to sell, they're firm on the $15,000 price tag. But trust me, if you know your classic cars, you'll understand just how special this Lincoln really is. So there you have it, folks. A rare opportunity to own a piece of automotive history. It may need some work, but that's half the fun, isn't it? If you're up for the challenge and have a vision for this classic beauty, don't hesitate to reach out to the seller. Who knows? You might just be the one to bring this Continental back to its former glory. 17. We've got a real gem for you, a 1978 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz that's ready to hit the road and turn some heads. This classic beauty is up for grabs on Craigslist for just $7,500, and let me tell you, it's a deal you don't want to miss. First things first, let's talk about the interior. The seller describes it as having a plush pillow-top leather interior, and boy does it sound luxurious. You'll feel like royalty as you sink into those comfy seats. And get this, it even has an ASC moonroof, perfect for those warm summer nights when you want to cruise with the wind in your hair. Now let's move on to the mechanicals. According to the seller, they're in excellent condition, which is music to any car lover's ears. You won't have to worry about any pesky repairs or breakdowns with this Eldorado Biarritz. It's ready to hit the road whenever you are. The interior is said to be in good condition, so you can expect a comfortable and stylish ride. However, the seller does mention that the exterior has some rust areas that have bubbled up the paint, but don't let that deter you. The rust has been stable for the past 4 years with no changes, so it's not a rapidly growing problem. Overall, the seller describes this Cadillac as a very good car that can be used anytime for fun. It's clean, looks great, and has received many compliments from admirers. The best part? The seller has done numerous upgrades and repairs, so much so that the list is too long to mention. But the bottom line is that this Eldorado Biarritz needs nothing. Just hop in and drive it away. One cool thing to note is that the seller is open to accepting cryptocurrency as payment. So if you've got some digital currency burning a hole in your virtual wallet, this could be the perfect opportunity to use it. In summary, this Eldorado Biarritz is a fantastic find for any classic car enthusiast. With its plush interior, excellent mechanicals, and overall great condition, it's a car that's ready to provide you with endless fun and enjoyment. And at just $7,500, it's a steal compared to other classic Cadillacs on the market. So what are you waiting for? If you've been dreaming of owning a piece of American automotive history, this Eldorado Biarritz could be the one for you. Don't miss out on this opportunity to cruise in style and turn heads wherever you go. 18. We've got a real treat for you. A 1951 Ford Coupe that's been given a new lease on life. This classic beauty is up for grabs on Craigslist for $12,500, and let me tell you, it's a custom build that'll make your heart race. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A car from 1951 might be a bit rough around the edges, but that's not the case with this Ford Coupe. The seller has done some serious upgrades under the hood, making this classic a real powerhouse on the road. First off, let's talk about the engine. This coupe is rocking a Chevy 350 V8 paired with a 350 automatic transmission. That's right, this old-school Ford has got some Chevy muscle under the hood. And let me tell you, it runs and drives like a dream. The seller even says it's in excellent condition, so you won't have to worry about any unexpected breakdowns or costly repairs, but the upgrades don't stop there. The seller has also installed a Nova subframe, which means this coupe has got some modern handling capabilities. You'll be able to take those curves with confidence and really feel the road beneath you. Now, I know the odometer reads 10,000 miles, but the seller does mention that it has rolled over. So while we can't be sure of the exact mileage, what we do know is that this coupe has been well taken care of. The clean title is just the cherry on top, giving you peace of mind when it comes to ownership. Aesthetically, the seller doesn't provide too many details, but from the looks of it, this Ford has got some serious style. The classic lines and vintage charm are sure to turn heads wherever you go. And with those modern upgrades under the hood, you'll have the perfect blend of old school cool and new school performance. So there you have it, folks. A Ford that's ready to hit the road and make some memories. Whether you're a classic car collector, a hot rod enthusiast, or just someone who appreciates a good custom build, this coupe is sure to impress. At $12,500, it's a fair price for a car that's been given a new heart and soul. And with its excellent running condition and clean title, you can trust that you're getting a solid ride. So what are you waiting for? If you've been dreaming of cruising down the highway in a vintage ride with modern power, this Ford Coupe is the perfect choice. Don't miss out on this opportunity to own a piece of automotive history that's been brought into the 21st century. Trust me, you won't regret it. 19. We've got a real gem for you. A 1965 Plymouth Barracuda that's ready to steal your heart. This classic beauty is up for grabs on Craigslist for just $8,800, and let me tell you, it's a deal that's hard to resist. First off, let's talk about the basics. This Barracuda is all original, powered by a 225 slant-6 engine and an automatic transmission. The best part? It currently runs and drives and even has current tags. That's right, you can hop in and hit the road as soon as you bring this baby home. And with a clean Texas title, you won't have to worry about any pesky paperwork. But the real excitement starts when you dive into the recent upgrades and included parts. The seller has gone above and beyond to make sure this Barracuda is in top shape. They've installed new tires, a new gas tank, new brakes, new leaf springs, new control arms, and a new starter. That's a whole lot of new for a classic car. But wait, there's more. The sale price includes a treasure trove of parts and accessories valued at approximately $6,000. We're talking a full black interior kit, all new chrome for inside and out, new 15 inches rims, a new 4-core billet aluminum radiator, an Aussie Speed Shop high-performance aluminum intake, a new cam, front and back bumpers, a new carburetor, and much more. It's like getting a bonus car with your purchase. Now, I know what you might be thinking. With an odometer reading of just 1 mile, this Barracuda must be too good to be true. But fear not, my friends. That low mileage is likely due to the odometer being reset during the restoration process. What matters is that this car runs and drives like a dream and has been given all the love and attention it deserves. Imagine cruising down the street in this classic American muscle car, turning heads and dropping jaws wherever you go. With its sleek lines, iconic design, and all those shiny new parts, this Barracuda is sure to be the star of any car show or weekend getaway. So what are you waiting for? If you've been dreaming of owning a piece of automotive history that's been brought back to life, this Barracuda is your chance. At just $8,800, it's a steal for a car that's been given so much attention and comes with a small fortune in extra parts. 20, we've got a real treat for you. A 1946 Buick Super that's just begging for a new lease on life. This vintage beauty is up for grabs on Craigslist for just $8,000, and let me tell you, it's a project that'll make any car lover's heart skip a beat. First off, let's talk about the heart of this beast. Under the hood, you'll find a straight 8-cylinder engine that's ready to roar. Paired with a 3-speed manual transmission on the column, this Buick Super is a true classic in every sense of the word. And the best part, it runs, drives, and stops like a champ. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A car from 1946 must be a rusty mess, but that's not entirely the case with this Super. The seller mentions that underneath, the car is solid. However, they do admit that there's some rust on the rocker panels. But hey, that's just an opportunity to put your restoration skills to the test and make this Buick truly shine. The tires are said to be in great condition, so you won't have to worry about replacing them anytime soon. And get this, the water pump has already been replaced and the starter and generator have been rebuilt. That's a whole lot of important components that you won't have to fuss with. The battery is a few years old, but still holding strong. And the front brake hoses have been replaced for added peace of mind, so you can feel confident hitting the road in this classic ride. Now let's talk about the interior. The seller does mention that it needs some work, but that's all part of the fun of a restoration project. Imagine the satisfaction of bringing this Buick Super's interior back to its former glory with plush seats and a dash that'll make you feel like you've traveled back in time. The paint color is a beautiful blue, which is just begging for a fresh coat to really make it pop. And with a clean title, you won't have to worry about any pesky paperwork holding you back from making this Buick your own. So, what are you waiting for? If you're a serious classic car enthusiast looking for a project that'll keep you busy and bring you joy for years to come, this Super is the one for you. At just $8,000, it's a steal for a piece of automotive history that's ready to be brought back to life. But remember, the seller is only entertaining serious inquiries and cash offers. So if you're ready to take on this restoration adventure, don't hesitate to reach out and make this Buick Super yours. Trust me, you won't regret it.